Everyone's heard the phrase, you are what you eat. But how true is this phrase? How much do our food choices affect our body, our health? Today we're going to be examining the difference between organic products and conventional products. Before we can really understand the differences, we really need to understand what makes an organic product and the processes that are involved in producing organics. Overall, organics provide a safer product to the public. It's produced in a more natural way, and it's also better for the environment. First understand the difference between the two products, we need to understand what makes an organic product an organic product. The USDA is the government entity that is over the organic industry. Only their seal, which you can see at the top of this page, right here, regulates organics. Anytime you see a USDA seal that says it's organic, that means that the product is organic. Now let me go over the three different variations in organics. We're going to go over organic crops, organic livestock, and organic mixed products. So organic crops, the USDA seal certifies that there's no irradiation, sewage sludge, synthetic fertilizers, prohibited pesticides or herbicides or GMOs within the product. So in crops, everything has to be produced naturally. You're going to be producing with manure or compost, things such as that. And there can be no GMOs. GMOs are genetically modified organisms. So it has to all be a naturally occurring substance. Organic livestock. The USDA seal verifies that the producer meets animal health and welfare standards. So before you even look at what can go into the animal or the production of the livestock, it has to meet a certain standard in their welfare standards. So all their feed has to be non-GMO, it has to be natural, they have to be provided access to outdoors and are able to graze and feed in that area. So it's a little bit different than conventional farming. Conventional livestock might not see the outside their entire life, and they'll be pumped full of medications or other hormones and things such as that. The other thing is that we're looking at is organic multi-ingredient foods. Organic multi-ingredient foods, the USDA seal verifies that the product is 95% organic content. So if you pick up an organic cereal or organic snack bar, that means that 95% of what is in that product, the finished product, is organic. So 5% could be unorganic, but it's 95% organic. So that's the difference. The main thing you need to take away and understand about organics is organics are produced without pesticides, herbicides, synthetic fertilizers, or GMOs. And the livestock is produced without growth hormones or many different antibiotics. Okay? Now you can look at this label page that I've provided you guys with. First, I'm going to go over the GMOs again. It's a genetically modified organism. So like I said, it's something that does not occur naturally in nature. So it's created often by companies to preserve food for longer, things such as that. There's a big controversy over this stuff right now because people think there might be health dangers involved with this. None of this has been absolutely proven true yet, but there's pretty good evidence that it could have an effect on your overall health over time. So the second label is the Non-GMO Project Certified label. The Non-GMO Project is a non-profit organization that basically tests products and makes sure that they don't have any GMOs. So if you ever see a Non-GMO project label on a wrapper or something, it doesn't necessarily mean that this product is organic. They cannot say that it's organic. It just means that they found there's no GMOs. So according to the Non-GMO Project, despite their strenuous testing, they cannot legally claim that products are GMO free because of the high risk of contamination. The USDA is the only entity that can claim something to be organic and absolutely free of GMOs. But this is a good second source to make sure the product that you're consuming is healthy and free of GMOs. The other three labels, right here, are going to be for other countries that can import organic goods. It's Canada on the first one. The second one is going to be Europe, and the third one is going to be Japan. So actually can import organic goods, and they are upheld to the same standards as U.S. organic. So it's safe to buy, but that's just, I've never seen one of these labels in the store myself, but you could run into produce or milk or beef or something. I guess they could be from another country because it's possible to import. The other labels down at the bottom are the Rainforest Alliance and the Fair Trade Certified. Rainforest Alliance has more to do with the environmental factors that a company goes while they're doing their product. Basically, it's more about the environmental cost of what they're doing, and they're held to different standards. So you could see it on an organic package, but it does not mean if you just see a Rainforest Alliance certified, it doesn't mean the product is organic. So, and the other one is a Fair Trade Certified. You often see this on coffee or tea. Basically, that's just stating that the person who produced this product paid fair trade amount to a person, perhaps maybe in a third world country or in Africa or anywhere. It was a fair market amount was paid for the coffee or tea leaves. Okay. Now we're going to take a look at the differences between conventional and organic farming. Conventional farming applies chemical fertilizers to promote plant growth. They spray synthetic insecticides and insecticides to reduce pests and disease, and they use synthetic herbicides to manage weeds. In animals, they give them antibiotics, growth hormones, and medication to prevent disease and spur growth. Organic production will apply natural fertilizers such as manure or compost to feed soil and plants. They spray pesticides from a natural source. They use environmentally generated plant-killing compounds, rotate crops, till, hand weed, or mulch to manage their weeds. The animals are given organic feed and allowed access to the outdoors. The preventive measures for disease in organics is normally using a balanced diet and clean housing. So whereas conventional farming relies heavily on GMOs, on medications, on hormones, organics attempt to have a more natural process and keep the area clean and have a more natural life cycle for the animal to reduce disease and other issues. There are several studies out there right now on organics and on conventional farming and the differences between the two. Since we've really just gone through our first boom really in organics in the last 2 decades, I don't think there's been enough long-term evidence to suggest that there's a huge benefit just yet in research to using organic products. The main study that I found to be reliable and a good source was the Stanford study. It was inconclusive in finding any nutritional difference between organic and conventional products. But it did find some other interesting things. People who eat organics are much less likely to be reduced to exposure of pesticides and antibiotic-resistant bacteria. They found that in their study, the organic produce was 30% less likely to contain detectable pesticides. And conventional animal products were more likely to be contaminated with pathogens resistant to 3 or more antibiotic bacteria. So, overall, where they did not find any nutritional differences, they did find there were other benefits to the organic products. You're much less likely to have a lot of other chemicals and stuff in your products. So that was one thing I found interesting with that study. People might want to know, after you see all the benefits of organics, why would people not use organics more often? Because it's still kind of a niche market. You know, people really, it hasn't caught on quite yet. It hasn't crested. So the main argument that I find against organics is expense. They're always going to be more expensive for the consumer. So many people, they won't justify that the product is that much better for how much they're going to have to pay. Other people may trust that the levels of regulation that the government puts on conventional farmers is good enough because there's a certain level of pesticides or herbicides that will be allowed in the product or medications and things like that. So some people trust the regulations. One of the good arguments I found was from Henry Miller. He stated that non-organic fruits and vegetables always have more pesticide residue, but more than 99% of the time the levels are much lower than the mandated levels by the government. So basically he's stating that they found that even though conventional farmers do use more pesticides and more unnatural chemicals, they're much lower than government regulation levels. Miller also stated a concern for the practices of organic farming. He said that he was worried about the use of animal excrement and things such as that. He said that he thought that many of the practices that they think are natural could be more harmful to the consumer than conventional farming can be. So that's one of the people who's more against organic farming. So there are people out there who don't see the benefits of organics, and it's still, like I said, a very small consumer base compared to what we have. It's probably less than 1%, I think, of the overall land of the entire world that's used for agriculture is used for organics. But that's grown 2 to 3-fold in the past 2 decades as it's become more of a in thing, and people have kind of begun to look at this. So, organics are always going to provide you with a more natural product. You're always going to get a more natural product from organics. So there won't be herbicides, pesticides, or GMOs. It's always guaranteed. It can't be guaranteed that it's going to be more nutritious, as they would say. But a conventional product, whereas it can be as nutritious as an organic product, it cannot guarantee that it's not going to be chock full of medications, hormones, pesticides, herbicides, or any other things that they could use as a preservative or to prevent from disease. So basically, the main argument for organics is it's a more natural product, and overall putting things that are natural into your body are going to be better for you in the long run. I hope you enjoyed this presentation today, and I hope you were able to learn something about organics. Thank you.